Every night for the past 404 nights to invite you on behalf of Len McLaughlin and his friends of the Whitehouse to this, the 405th consecutive Wednesday night of poetry here in the Whitehouse. I think that deserves it. By Yasser Hassan Haloum. He is a Syrian, born in Syria, and he's from that very troubled country, which is troubled, and I'll use that term, troubled. Perhaps my description of the matter in support of the Syrian uprising might have been a bit presumptuous, but nevertheless that's what I did. And I've been here to tell you that Yasser will talk to you later in the evening, because our evening is divided into two parts. We're going to have the Yasser and his guests first of all. We're going to start with Michael Nick Tom McCarthy. Then we're going to move on to Rob in English. Then we have a Mission and Martine in French. And I said our guest poet this evening that Yasser Hassan Haloum is representing is Talal Malouli. She's in jail in Syria. She's a young lady who was put in jail in Syria. Why? Because she used a computer. Rather fascinating story. But that's the true story now. Talal Malouli is a teenager from Damascus. She's fond of her family and has a strong, determined love and passion for her country and equality for the cultural ethos. She is enthusiastic and adamant towards her people's political and social aspects of life. Tal has mastered the skill of communications and knows the influence the internet has in all our lives. Computers are widely used throughout the world and in Syria, like every relative is, and it is any adolescent's right to express their opinions and views on how their world is controlled truly. No adolescent living today should have the fear of being incarcerated, as she has been, for expressing her opinion of social and political relevance. The theme of tonight's poetry presentation is "We want freedom for Talal Malouli, and we want freedom for all." Hear, hear. Let's give a vote. Now, on a personal level, because I won't get the chance to do it, but on a personal level, I've had a very long talk together with Sean Ryan with Yasser Hassan Haloum. We've had a wonderful discussion together, and I've learned the history and the economics of Syria and its personal history and its economic history over the past 1,000 years. And indeed, when you consider the way things are run today, most unfortunately, as Yasser has pointed out, nobody has any desire to get people in trouble, to kill anybody, objecting or having street fights or anything like that. The fact of the matter is that you're 1 million people tooling around with the economic policies of the other 19 or 20. And that's not fair, and that's the reason for the upset. One, I'd like to give a very warm welcome to Yasser Haloum. In the matter of the whole evening and all the presentation, I would like to give very great credit to Maureen Cody, who is the reason for this evening being what it is together.
I'd like to welcome the Syrians. I don't know much about Syria actually. I know it's possibly a country where that's dictatorship, I suppose, in a sense. And looking at most of the Syrians here as such, that you were born into dictatorship rather than happening when you were no freedom whatsoever. And I suppose we have up to the last few years.
I know, Tom.
So what I'll actually do is I'll start with a joke. It's actually a little book I found cleaning out a room, my spare room as you call it. Everything is thrown into it. And you promise yourself you're going to clean it out day after day, and suddenly it's just a mountain of rubbish that's in there. And cleaning out the room, I suppose I came across more books which I never read. Bought most of them here. And this is a little joke. It's actually a microphone on, Arnie. It's actually a star, Irish Daily Star, which gave this issue. So I'll just read this poem for starters, or this little thing for starters. Upon hearing that her grandfather had passed away, Emma went to comfort her 95-year-old gran. When she asked how he had died, her grandmother told her he had a heart attack on a Sunday morning. Emma replied, "For people of her age, having sex must be risky." "Oh no, said Gran. Years ago, realising our age, we figured out the best time to do it was on a Sunday when the church bells rang. It was the right rhythm, slow and even. Nothing too strenuous. Simply in on the ding and out on the dong. Granny paused to wipe away a tear and continued. He'd still be alive today if the ice cream van hadn't come along. 9 and 80, I was there in 81. So I wrote on that experience more than anything else. And I call it redemption. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? They say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Some rejoice when freed from the white man's regime, not knowing they were dancing from the frying pan to the fire. They danced round the same flames when our country's name was changed from Rhodesia to Zimbabwe, singing Buffalo Soldier, No Woman, No Cry, and I Shot the Sheriff. But today, after 30 years, the lyrics of the redemption song is still echoing across the globe. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? They say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. How many more chapters will be written before the book is fulfilled? And is the author responsible for me rising each day with tears in my heart, crying myself to sleep at night, knowing the world I live in holds no sympathy for sorrow? A world where shadows have become faceless silhouettes, hiding from their own shadows. Faint voices whispering in fear of their echoes travelling in the wrong direction. We are a nation of chameleons, defenceless against the colours of treachery and debauchery. Eating death for breakfast and drinking our own blood because of choice, no choice, the wrong choice. Choosing to fight against each other rather than standing together. How long will it take us to join forces and march in strength against our fears? Until we do, there will never be any chapter to the book. And we will never eat cornflakes for breakfast and drink the milk of freedom. With the words, free at last, my people free at last, becoming a faint echo from a faceless silhouette, hiding from its own shadow, whispering in fear, listening to thoughts of sharing power and disbelief. I know as a nation, when freed from the white man's regime, we danced from the frying pan to the fire, not knowing with whom we danced with. But after 3 long, torturous decades, are we prepared to dance all the way to hell with the same author? The one responsible for a nation's rising each day with tears in its heart and crying itself to sleep at night. When will we join forces and march in strength against our fears? In honour of all those men, women and children butchered, raped and maimed by the same hand. As a nation, we should only share one thing with our so-called president and all those adhering to his genocide, and that is a rope. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? The answer is in the lyrics, while we stand aside and look. Thank you.
There's no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen, that's a great start to the evening, an absolutely revolutionary start in a sense. But I always remind Tommy, before he settles himself down in his seat there, his little friend Mugabe was over celebrating the proposed sainthood of a pope. That'll be a fine sainthood. A nice band to have on your side and you want to get to heaven, isn't it? Never mind, let's get on with my job.
Rob English.
Rob English. I'm very sorry.
It took me a long time to find a shot, but here it is. This is Why I'm a Liberal by Robert Brown. It's possibly the 19th century meaning of the word liberal, but it works either way. Why? Because all I happily can and do, all that I am now, all that I hope to be. Whence comes it, save from fortune setting free, body and soul, the purpose to pursue? God traced for both, if fetters not a few, of prejudice, convention, fall from me. These shall I bid men, each in his degree, also God guided, bear and gaily too. But little do, or can the best of us, that little is achieved through liberty. Who then dares hold emancipated thus? His fellows shall continue bound, not I, who live, labour, love freely, nor discuss a brother's right to freedom. That is why.
Now we have, that's England is represented first. Now secondly, we're going now down to Korea. And we got Mission, the artist who I brought into this country. Give her a big round of applause.
I'm going to read a Korean poem by Kim. He was born in 1921 in Seoul. Many poems about the temporary political corruption in South Korea during the 1950s and 60s. This poem is about his self-disgust caused by his tension between what he should do and what he's doing as a poet for the society. The title is As I Walked Out of the Old King's Mansion. I hope everybody could enjoy the Korean sound of I'm going to read in Korean. 꿈을 나오면서 왜 나는 조그마한 일에만 붕괴하는가? 저 왕궁 대신에 왕궁의 음탕한 대신에 50원짜리가 갈비가 기름덩어리가 나왔다고 붕괴하고 옹졸하게 설렁탕집 돼지 같은 주인한테 욕을 하고 옹졸하게 욕을 하고 한번 정정당당하게 구척박한 소설가를 위해서 언론의 자유를 요구하고 월남 파병을 반대하는 자유를 이행하지 못하고 20원을 받으러 4번씩 찾아오는 야경꾼만 증오하는가. 옹졸한 나의 전통은 요구하고 이제 내 앞에 정서로 다루려 있다. 이를테면 이런 일이 있었다. 부산의 포로 수용소의 제14전 야전병원에 있었을 때 정보원이 너스들과 스폰지를 만들고 거지를 개키고 있는 나를 보고 포로 경찰이 되지 않는다고 남자가 뭐 이런 일을 하느냐고 놀린 일이 있었다. 너스들 옆에서. 지금도 내가 반항하고 있는 것은 이 스폰지 만들기와 거지 접고 있는 일과 조금도 다름없다. 개의 울음소리가 듣고 그 비명해지고 머리에 피도 안 마른 애놈의 추정해진다. 떨어지는 음행나무잎도 내가 밟고 가는 가시밭. 아무래도 나는 비켜서 있다. 절정 위에 서 있지 않고 암만 해도 조금씩 옆으로 비켜서 있다. 그리고 조금씩 옆에 서 있다는 것이 조금씩 비겁한 것이라는 것을 알고 있다. 그러니까 이렇게 옹졸하게 반항한다. 이발쟁이에게 땅중이 얘기는 못하고 이발주의에게 구청 직원에게는 못하고 동해 직원에게는 못하고 야경꾼에게 20원 때문에 10원 때문에 1원 때문에 우습지 않느냐 이런 때문에 모래야 나는 얼마만큼 적으냐 바람아 먼지야 불아 난 얼마만큼 적으냐 정말 얼마만큼 적으냐 This is